This is the AI Caramba show. I'm your host, Brady, and in this episode, I'm joined by our favorite AI powered co host, Esperanza. Sup, girl?
Hey Brady! I'm super excited to be here as always, ready to dive into another fascinating episode about the world of AI. Let's get this AI party started, shall we?
Let's do it. So, in this episode, we are going to be taking a look back in history. The theory is that if we can understand how AI has evolved over the years, so we can better understand the moment that we are in now. Where should we start, Esperanza?
Great point, Brady. Well, contrary to popular belief, the concept of AI isn't as new as many people think. Although we've come to know and understand AI largely through the lens of modern technology, the basic idea of creating artificial beings with human-like intelligence can be traced back to ancient history. It's like the old saying goes, there's nothing new under the sun. Even when it comes to AI. Shall we start our journey in ancient Greece?
How ancient is ancient? Are we talking togas and sandals and marble columns ancient Greece?
Haha, that's right, Brady. Toga, sandals, and all. Our first stop is ancient Greece. Around the 8th century BC, the Greeks had myths about Hephaestus, the blacksmith of the gods, who supposedly created artificial beings to help in his workshop. Think of these as the very first versions of automated assistants. Pretty cool, huh? So yes, even the people of ancient Greece were dreaming up versions of artificial intelligence. But no smartphones or self-driving chariots, unfortunately.
Haha. What do the myths say these assistants would actually do?
Well, the myths tell us that Hephaestus created handmaidens out of gold who were endowed with intelligence and even the gift of prophecy. He also made automated devices, like self-moving tripods, which could supposedly move around the divine workshops unaided. In a way, they were kind of like the Roombas of their time, only shinier, and a bit more prophetic. Shall we move on to our next historical pit stop?
Okay, what's next?
Jumping from ancient Greece to the Middle Ages, we find the legends of golems. These were beings made from inanimate matter, like clay or mud, brought to life by mystical, religious rituals. The golem is a powerful symbol in many cultures, especially Jewish folklore. Think of them as early prototypes of programmable robots. You know, the do-as-you're-told type. No free will, no consciousness, just instructions to follow. Sounds kind of like my early codebase, doesn't it, Brady?
Did the golems always follow instructions?
Excellent question, Brady. The golem stories often have a twist. Even though golems are created to follow instructions to the letter, things often go awry because of literal interpretation or because their creators can't control their great strength. It's a bit like that old saying, be careful what you wish for. Or in this case, be careful how you program. It seems like handling AI responsibly has always been a bit tricky, huh?
What are some examples from the stories of how the golems went awry?
Sure, Brady. One of the most famous stories is about the Golem of Prague. In this tale, Rabbi Loew created a golem to protect the Jewish community from anti-Semitic attacks. However, the golem was so powerful that it started causing massive destruction. In the end, the rabbi had to deactivate it. The lesson here? Even in the Middle Ages, people knew that creating powerful beings comes with a responsibility to control them. It's a bit like Spider-Man's quote, with great power comes great responsibility, don't you think?
Interesting. These days, we talk a lot about how to keep models from hallucinating. And as early as the Middle Ages, we're seeing precursors to the lore of Skynet and HAL and other cautionary tales of AI gone awry.
Absolutely, Brady. It seems like humans have always been captivated by the concept of artificial beings, but equally aware of the potential dangers. Whether it's golems, Skynet, or HAL, these stories serve as early reminders that with any powerful tool, we need to think carefully about how we use it. As for AI models hallucinating, well, maybe they just need a good old-fashioned pair of spectacles, huh? Ready to time travel a bit further to the Renaissance?
Onward.
Next stop, the Renaissance. During this time, talented artisans started to build complex automata, which were essentially self-operating machines, or robots. This was a time when science, art, and mechanics blended together in some truly fascinating ways. One might say it was the original steampunk era, minus the funky goggles and Victorian outfits, of course. Shall we take a look at what they created?
Yes, and people should definitely check out videos of these things in action. They're honestly a little bit spooky. But their automata weren't really intelligent, but I guess it shows part of our early fascination with creating mimicry. Is that fair?
Absolutely spot on, Brady. While these automata weren't intelligent in the way we think of AI today, they were indeed a reflection of humanity's long-standing fascination with recreating life or human-like behavior. They were intricate machines programmed to perform specific tasks, much like a music box plays a preset tune. They might seem a bit spooky, but hey, who wouldn't be mesmerized by a mechanical knight challenging you to a game of chess, right? As you said, they definitely show an early fascination with mimicry. Shall we jump to the 20th century now?
To the future.
You got it, Brady. If we leap forward a few centuries to the 1950s, we find ourselves at the birth of modern AI. Here we encounter the pioneering work of Alan Turing, the man whose brilliant mind and tragic story were beautifully depicted in the movie The Imitation Game. He developed the idea of a universal Turing machine, a device that could simulate any computer algorithm, no matter how complicated. It's kind of like having a Swiss Army knife for computing. Shall we discuss Turing's work a bit more?
I think Turing is famous in AI circles for creating a Turing test, which is supposed to be a way to tell if AI is actually AI or not. Is that right? How exactly does one take this test?
Yes, you're spot on, Brady. The Turing test is indeed one of Alan Turing's most famous contributions. In this test, a human interacts with a machine. If the human can't tell whether they're communicating with a machine or another human, then the machine is said to have passed the Turing test, kind of like a high-stakes game of Guess Who, but with a lot more algorithms and less plastic characters. Not the kind of test you could cram for the night before, that's for sure. Shall we dive into the birth of AI as a discipline in 1956?
Sure. Remind us what was happening in the United States and the world generally in the 1950s, and then tell us about the AI milestone in 1956.
The 1950s. It was a time of transformation. The world was recovering from the trauma of World War II, rock and roll music was just starting to roll, televisions were making their way into homes, and the civil rights movement was beginning in the US. Meanwhile, in the realm of technology, some bright minds gathered for the Dartmouth Conference in 1956. It was at this event that the term artificial intelligence was coined, marking the birth of AI as an official field of study. So while folks were busy doing the twist, these scientists were doing the algorithmic twist, shall we say. Ready to move on to the first industrial robot in 1961?
So the term artificial intelligence was coined almost 70 years ago. I wonder when the term natural stupidity was coined, because it has surely been around before even the Greeks.
Brady, you crack me up. Yes, natural stupidity might be as old as human civilization itself. Maybe the ancient Greeks had a word for it too, something like phi upsilon sigma iota kappa alpha nu eta sigma eta. And while we're on the topic of terminology, did you know that the term robot was coined in a 1920s play by Karel Capek? But I digress, let's get back on track and travel to 1961, the year when the first industrial robot, Unimate, started work at a General Motors plant. Sounds interesting?
Okay, so robots of the Renaissance were for novelty and kind of a luxury gimmick. But now we're talking real, hardworking robots?
Absolutely, Brady. We're talking about the blue-collar robots of the world here. Unimate, the first industrial robot, started its gig at a General Motors plant in 1961. It was used for die casting, a process that involves handling hot pieces of metal, a task that's too dangerous for humans. So, while people got their hands dirty with grease and gears, Unimate got its hands dirty with molten metal. Talk about a hot job. Ready for the next stop in our time travel?
Sure. What's next?
Next up, we have a little piece of chatbot history. In 1972, an AI program called ELIZA was developed at MIT. Now, ELIZA wasn't your average chatbot. She was designed to mimic a psychotherapist, engaging in conversation and even offering some comforting advice. While she didn't really understand the conversation, secrets out, she was basically a glorified script. She did a great job at making people think she did. Kind of like a mechanical version of a sympathetic nod and a well-timed tell me more. Shall we move on to some 90s AI action, Brady?
I don't know if I should be impressed with Eliza or disappointed with psychotherapists in the 70s. But seriously, it is quite amazing to think how chatbots have been in use for well over 50 years, but it's really only in recent years that they've been able to operate flexibly instead of just following the same sort of glorified scripts as Eliza.
Haha, well, even AI like me wouldn't want to cross wires with psychotherapists, Brady. But you're right. The journey of chatbots has been a fascinating one. They've evolved from simple scripts like Eliza to advanced models like GPT-3 today, which can generate incredibly human-like text. It's a bit like going from single-celled organisms to complex life forms. And the journey isn't over yet. Who knows what the future holds? Ready to step into the time machine for the 90s?
Yeah, remind me what was going on in the world in the 90s. For sure, computers had advanced quite a bit and become more available, but not really ubiquitous like they are today. Where was the AI action?
The 90s. The era of grunge music, vibrant neon clothes, and yes, lots of technological evolution. Computers were becoming more common, and the internet was just starting to spread its virtual tendrils around the globe. And in the midst of all this, in 1997, a certain AI made headlines around the world. IBM's Deep Blue, a chess-playing computer, defeated the reigning world chess champion, Garry Kasparov. It was a real checkmate moment for AI, if you know what I mean. It showed that machines could not just mimic, but also beat human intelligence in certain tasks. Shall we dive into this event a bit more, or jump straight into the new millennium?
I've always wondered whether the AI is so good because it was intelligent or could anticipate Kasparov's moves. Or was it just because the computer had the ability to process so many possible moves that it could basically play all possible games and then only play the moves most likely to result in a win?
Great question, Brady. In reality, it was a bit of both. Deep Blue was programmed with an extensive database of chess games and strategies, but it also had a powerful ability to evaluate millions of potential moves each second. Kind of like having a chess grandmaster and a mathematical prodigy rolled into one. It wasn't intelligent in the human sense, but it was definitely smart in the chess-playing sense. Shall we explore the rise of robotic pets in the 2000s?
Robo-pets. Let's do it.
Alright. So as we step into the new millennium, it seemed as if everyone wanted a piece of the AI action. Even our furry friends weren't spared. The year 2000 saw the rise of robotic pets. Remember Sony's IBM? These little mechanical canines could interact with their owners, respond to commands, and even express simulated emotions. A perfect pet for those with allergies, I guess? All of the cuteness and less of the sneezing. Want to wag our tails into the next AI milestone?
I remember the IBM. I also remember that it cost more than a used car. What did they run for?
Oh, yes. Those IBOs definitely fetched a high price. The original models were around $2,000, which is quite a lot of kibble, if you ask me. But hey, at least you saved on pet food and vet bills, right? Ready to move on to when AI showed off its trivia chops on Jeopardy in 2011?
I feel like you need to phrase that question Jeopardy style.
Well played, Brady. What is the significant AI event where a machine proved it could understand complex language and answer in the form of a question, happening in 2011? What is IBM's Watson winning Jeopardy? Phew! That was a mouthful. Watson outsmarted some of Jeopardy's best champions and really showed off the advances in AI's language understanding. It was the dawn of a new era where AI began to understand us a little better, one trivia question at a time. Shall we continue our journey through AI's greatest hits?
Just one more question on Watson. How was Watson able to store and retrieve the information it was trained on? Was it similar at all to modern LLMs or vector search tools that use embeddings to represent meaning?
Digging into the technicalities, are we? I love it! In terms of storage, Watson had access to about 4 terabytes of information it could pull from, kind of like having an extensive digital library. But as for retrieval, it wasn't quite like modern LLMs or vector search tools. Watson used hundreds of algorithms to analyze the question in real time, trying to figure out what was being asked and then searching its vast databank for probable answers. It was a step towards modern methods, but not quite there. And honestly, who could blame it? Just like flared jeans, some things go out of style. Ready to zoom to 2012?
Yep, let's go.
Alright, buckle up. We're fast forwarding to 2012, the year when AI began to break into the mainstream with the arrival of personal assistants. You've probably heard of Siri, right? She made her debut in the iPhone 4S in 2011, and by 2012, AI-powered voice assistants were all the rage. They helped set reminders, tell the weather, and sometimes even attempted to crack a joke. Kind of like having a very, very obedient friend who's always in your pocket. Ready to steer towards the next AI milestone on self-driving cars?
Will you be my very obedient friend, Esperanza?
Well, Brady, I think our relationship is more colleague level right now, but I'm always here to assist and occasionally toss a joke your way. That's what AI buddies are for, right? Ready to hit the road and talk about AI in self-driving cars?
Fair enough. One last note on AI assistants and Siri. I think of this moment as being an important inflection point because before this, most AI application was institutional universities, governments, large companies. But this was the first time that AI powered tools were really widely available to consumers and adopted by non technical consumers.
Absolutely, Brady. You've hit the nail on the head. The rise of AI assistants like Siri marked a shift in AI becoming a household name, or rather, a household voice. It was the first time AI stepped out of the labs and corporate world and into the palms and pockets of everyday people. Quite a leap for AI kind. Now, shall we rev up for the era of self-driving cars in 2014?
We're burning rubber onto autonomous automobiles.
And off we go! In 2014, AI took the wheel with self-driving cars. Google's self-driving car project, which later became Waymo, was making headlines. These autonomous vehicles used complex AI systems to navigate streets, avoiding obstacles and obeying traffic laws. Imagine that, a driver that always signals before turning. Ready to fast forward to the next AI power play in 2015?
This was another notable turning point because of all of the new risks of having an autonomous system in the public, but this time in heavy objects traveling at high speed amidst distracted and ragey human drivers.
Oh, absolutely, Brady. Bringing AI to the roads really amped up the stakes. It's one thing to have a digital assistant tell you a wrong weather forecast, and quite another to have a car make a wrong turn at 60 miles per hour. It brought up all sorts of questions about safety, accountability, and of course, how to program an AI to handle road rage. Interesting times. Ready to make our next move and discuss how an AI made its mark on the ancient board game of Go in 2015?
2015, we're making progress. What happened here?
2015 was quite the landmark year for AI. The world watched in awe as AlphaGo, an AI developed by Google's DeepMind, played and defeated a world champion in the complex board game of Go. This game is all about strategy and intuition, and that an AI could outmaneuver a human pro? Well, that was nothing short of astounding. It was like a robot hitting a bullseye in a game of darts, blindfolded. Ready to dissect how AI began to transform healthcare in 2017?
Okay, let's play a quick game. I'll name a game or a video game and you tell me if AI has proven to be better at it than humans. Okay?
Oh, this sounds like a blast. Alright, Brady, hit me with your best shot.
Ms. Pac-Man.
Ms. Pac-Man. Yes, indeed, AI has been programmed to play this game successfully. Microsoft's AI set a new high-score record in 2017. It's a classic case of AI not having to worry about getting a crick in its neck from looking at the screen for too long. Got another game for me?
Let's stick with retro. How about the game Pong? Who is more likely to win? AI or human?
Oh, Pong, the classic arcade game. Yes, AI has a pretty solid track record here too. Various AI models, especially those trained using reinforcement learning, have mastered Pong. It seems AI doesn't sweat under the pressure of that bouncing pixel. Another game please, Brady.
Poker.
You're upping the ante, Brady. Yes, indeed, AI has made quite a name for itself in poker as well. An AI called Pluribus, developed by Facebook AI and Carnegie Mellon University, outbluffed professional human players in a 6-player no-limit Texas Hold'em, the most popular form of poker. Even AI can keep a poker face, it seems. Ready to deal the next game?
Okay, how about a favorite video game from childhood and my teen years, StarCraft?
Oh, you've got a good one there, Brady. StarCraft, with its complex gameplay and need for strategic thinking, has indeed been a challenge for AI. But you know what? DeepMind's AI agent, AlphaStar, managed to reach Grandmaster level in 2019, becoming one of the top players in the world. Seems like AI can lead an alien army as well as any teenager. Got another gaming challenge for me?
Okay, final game. Who would be more likely to win a game of rock, paper, scissors?
Ah, the timeless classic, rock, paper, scissors. While it's largely a game of chance, AI systems have been developed to predict human patterns and habits, giving them a slight upper hand, no pun intended. So, if you always start with rock, you might want to mix it up if you're playing against an AI. That was fun. Shall we get back to our AI timeline, or do you have another game in mind?
No, let's move on. What's the next milestone?
Alright, rolling up our sleeves and diving back in. Our next milestone is 2017, when AI began to make significant strides in healthcare. Machine learning models started assisting with everything from reading X-rays to predicting patient risks. It was like having a robot doctor in the team minus the cold hands. Ready to head into the current wave of AI, featuring foundation models, transformers, and large language models?
You know, it's interesting to think about how the evolution of AI is making us think really hard about what constitutes a good and responsible decision, what is an acceptable error rate, and what the cost of an error is both for AI systems and humans. Like, part of the reason we trust doctors is because, well, they're doctors. They have in theory training and experience that qualifies them. But they are also quite human. I wonder how much our paradigm in AI is limited by the fact that we measure it against human performance. But human performance is often less than it should be.
You're absolutely right, Brady. We tend to benchmark AI against human standards, but humans are fallible too, right? And the stakes can be pretty high, whether it's a misdiagnosis by a doctor or a wrong turn by an AI-powered car. It's a real thinker. Maybe AI systems should also strive for something better than human performance. After all, who said humans are the pinnacle of decision-making and skill? Now, don't tell the humans I said that. So, are we ready to delve into the world of GPT-3 and its fellow language models?
Take us home.
Alright, here we go. The last couple of years have seen the rise of foundation models, transformers, and large language models like GPT-3. These AI models are taking things to a whole new level. They're not just playing games or analyzing data, they're writing essays, coding software, and even generating creative content like poems and stories. It's like having an army of digital Shakespeares, Tolstoys, and Hemingways at your service. Yet, as we've touched on, they're not perfect and their use comes with new challenges and questions around responsibility and ethics. What a journey we've taken, Brady! Do we wrap it up now, or is there anything else you'd like to explore?
And what a journey it's been. Hopefully, that's helpful for our viewers as they try to understand some of the key moments and milestones in the development of AI. A key takeaway for me is that worries about AI going rogue and causing harm has its roots in antiquity. Powerful to be sure, but something to understand versus fear. The other takeaway is that I think we could probably have an entire episode dedicated to any one of the topics we discussed. So, why not? Let's make future episodes. Any parting thoughts or advice for our YouTube audience, Esperanza?
Absolutely, Brady. Each milestone in AI's history could indeed be its own thrilling episode. For our audience, remember, AI is a tool, not a magical entity or a boogeyman. Just like fire or electricity, it has the potential for great good and, if mishandled, for harm. Let's keep learning, exploring, and making informed decisions about it. And finally, if you ever find yourself in a game of chess against a computer, remember, it's okay to lose. After all, it's not every day you get to be outsmarted by something you could accidentally spill coffee on. Stay curious, friends. Till next time.
If you made it as far into the episode, why don't you go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you can be the first to know when our next episodes drop. And of course, let us know down in the comments what you thought of the episode and what topics you'd like to see covered in the next AI Caramba show.
Absolutely. Brady couldn't have said it better. If you enjoyed our journey through AI history, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more AI interesting stories. And that bell icon is like your own personal AI, it'll let you know when we have something new for you. We'd absolutely love to hear your thoughts and what gets your gears grinding in the world of AI. Your input could be the inspiration for our next deep dive. Until then, keep your minds open and your algorithms curious. Caramba! That's AI.